Hello, virtual English 2 students, and welcome. We have finally arrived to the start of The Crucible by Arthur Miller, a play that has everything. It has adultery, it has witchcraft, it has nudity. You name it, it's got it. Well, it doesn't have like flying robots and whatnot, but it does have a lot of interesting stuff in it, and it's usually a fun read that we are going to jump in and tackle here. But before we start actually reading The Crucible, I got to prime the pump. I got to unlock some things in your head to kind of get your brain in the right direction, into the right mindset as we enter into reading The Crucible. So we have 2 days of kind of pre-reading activities we're going to be doing. Today, or the first one, we actually did part of this yesterday, and I'm going to record another video this afternoon where I talk about the stuff we do today. It's just yesterday. There's a lot of stuff going on, so I didn't have enough time to jump on here and do this. But luckily, the stuff that we did yesterday isn't the most labor-intensive stuff. The stuff we'll do today is a little bit more cognitively demanding, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So what we're going to do today is I have 2 assignments that I want you to do on this particular assignment. There are 2 things I need you to do for this particular assignment. The first one is this one right here. So this is the anticipatory reaction guide, and you don't need to worry about part 2 or part 3 of the directions. Ignore the part 2 and part 3 of the directions. All I need you to do is go through all these statements. So all 10 of these statements. In fact, if you are a virtual student, or if you have to do this digitally, just, you can copy and paste or just type the statement, and then you can do the little thing over here, or you can get a PDF editor and do it. But basically what I want you to do is read these statements and tell me where you fall on it. So it's basically one. Prior to reading The Crucible, in the before column, respond to each statement by putting either a plus sign if you agree to it, a minus sign if you disagree to it, or a question mark if you're unsure of your belief next to the statement. So you're going to put either a plus, a minus, or a question mark. Plus is I agree, minus is I disagree, and question mark is I'm not 100% sure. So I want you to go through and do that for this one. In fact, here, I'll honestly show you how to do it. If you want to do it in like a doc, you're going to copy it. And I need to actually open up a doc. I don't have a doc open, so this is going to be fun. But then you just, yeah. So you saw that I just copied that right there. I used the keyboard shortcut of, I have a Mac, so I did Command V, but most of the time it is, I think, Control V. Then we're going to share this one. So as mentioned before, I copied that statement. Here, I'll even do that entire part. I know this is riveting learning vidifications. All right. So what I did was I copied this right here. Then I'm going to go over to a doc. I'm going to paste that. Wow, crazy, right? And then before it, I'll probably tab like this, and then confessing to a crime you didn't commit in order to avoid a punishment is wise. I disagree. And so I put a minus sign. But if I agreed, I'd put a plus sign. Or if, I don't know, I'd put a question mark. That's all you got to do. You got to do that for the 10 things that we will be going over. And here are the 10 things, essentially, in a nutshell. Confessing to a crime you didn't commit in order to avoid punishment is wise. Do you agree, disagree, or are kind of on the fence? The difference between right and wrong is clear. Agree, disagree, or on the fence. It is better to die for what you believe in rather than to lie to save your life. There's only one correct way to interpret the Bible. That which doesn't destroy us only makes us stronger. It's more difficult to forgive yourself if the person you have hurt doesn't forgive you. Courage means doing something even though it can be difficult and fearsome. A person is innocent until proven guilty. Beliefs in opposition to common values should be illegal, and justice is best determined in a court of law. There's no right or wrong answer here. This is just simply your opinion that I'm wanting to see. So submit this via Google Classroom in a document. Then in another document, I want you to do this, and I'll be showing you this here in a second. So why do we go through these? All those 10 things that we talked about, those 10 statements are ideas that the Crucible explores. And so I just want to kind of get your mindset of where you are at when it comes to that. If we were face to face in class, we would actually talk about each of the ideas as a group and then move on to the next one and next one, kind of to see where our general consistency is on some of those answers. So in one document, I want you to put your answers to that questionnaire. There's no right or wrong answer. It's just a participatory thing to kind of get your head in the right space before we read the Crucible. The other thing I want you to do is this. So we're about to read the Crucible by Arthur Miller. Arthur Miller is probably one of America's most famous playwrights. He is famous, of course, for the Crucible, which you're about to read, and Death of the Salesman is his other big famous play. Most people probably know him because he was married to Marilyn Monroe. I believe he was Marilyn Monroe's second husband. He was before Joe DiMaggio. But he wrote The Crucible in response to what was going on in the world at that time during the 1950s. He wrote The Crucible as a response to the things he was seeing that were happening. And so you need to have a little bit of a historical context of what was going on with the 1950s, specifically kind of like the Cold War era stuff. The Cold War is the big reason why it inspired him. More specifically, here near the very end of this video that I'm going to have you watch, where he starts talking about quiet, John Green, but near the very end here, where it starts talking about Senator Joseph McCarthy and the Red Scare, is the bigger thing that we are focusing on here. That's the thing that really inspired Arthur Miller to actually write this play. But you do need to have a little bit of a historical context going into it. So that what I want you to do is I want you to watch this particular video that I'll have linked on Classroom. It is basically a crash course, a really a 13-minute just like condensed idea of what was going on in the 1950s. Cover everything? No, but it gives you a nice little broad overview to kind of give you an idea of what was the ins and outs of going on. I want you to watch this. I want you to take 10 annotations, 10 notes over this this video about the 1950s. So that is what the assignments are. So you have two assignments. The first is the anticipation guide. List out those statements, put a plus if you agree, minus if you disagree, or a question mark if you're on the fence, and then watch that video and annotations over the video. That's all I have for you today for right now. I'll be back this afternoon with what we did face to face today, and I'll talk to you in tomorrow. And that video, we'll talk about witches and how to spot a witch, and we're gonna read some witch poetry, and it's gonna be a lot of fun because witches. All right, so I'll see y'all then later. Bye.